class we have seen some concept with respect to array based implementation approach. So in that we have seen what do you mean by mask programmable arrays. So few examples on gate array approach: primitive gate array cells, programmed cell implementation, a 4 input NOR gate we have seen. Then gate array architectures with channeled and channelless C of gates. Examples of C of gate primitive cells we have seen. Then we have also seen C of gate array for a the example of gate array die micro photograph, which has been given by the courtesy of LSI logic. Now in today's class I will be starting with a new concept which is called as pre-wired arrays. So first let us have a look what is the meaning of pre-wired arrays. While the pre-diffused arrays offer a fast road to implementation, it would be even more efficient if dedicated manufacturing steps could be avoided altogether. This leads to the concept of pre-processed die that can be programmed in the field, that is, outside the semiconductor foundry, to implement a set of given Boolean functions. Such a programmable pre-wired array of cell is called Field Programmable Gate Array, or in short form FPGAs. The advantage of this approach is that manufacturing process is completely separated from the implementation phase and can be amortized over a large number of designs. The implementation itself can be performed at the user side with a negligible turnaround time. The major drawback of this technique is a loss in performance and design density compared with the more customized approach, right? So there are two main issues which have to be addressed when attempting to implement a set of Boolean functions on top of regular array of cells without requiring any processing steps. And that first one is, how do we implement programmable logic, and how and where do we store the program? These are the two important questions. Now to answer this, we have three different techniques that can be used for FPGAs. That first one is write once or fused based FPGAs. Here, fused based FPGAs. This logic array is committed to a particular function by blowing fuses or by short circuiting antifuses. A fuse is a connection element that is short circuited by default. A large current causes it to blow and then it becomes an open circuit, right? Let me show you how that antifuse exactly looks. So this is how the antifuse will look, right? The advantage of the wire once approach is that the area overhead of the program memory, that is the fuse, is very small, but it has the important disadvantage of being one time programmable. That means once you blow these fuses, right? So here you can see oxide, nitride, oxide, ONO dielectric, antifuse polysilicon. Okay, now once you apply a particular voltage to this antifuse, it will blow. That means it is programmed. It's like programmed. A particular interconnection has been programmed. Once it is being done, you cannot change that programming. That is a main disadvantage of this wire ones or fuse based FPGA. Next, let me go through the second part, that is non-volatile or EEPROM based FPGA. That is second one. So in this particular example, what happens? Let's see. Non-volatile FPGA, which is also called as EEPROM based FPGA, the program is stored in a non-volatile memory. Non-volatile means which is not volatile. That means even though if you remove the power, the program which has been stored inside the memory will not get erased. That is the meaning of non-volatile, which is a memory that retains its value even when the power supply is turned off. Example include E2PROM, that is electrically erasable programmable read-only memory, or flash memories such as our pen drive. Pen drive is a very good example of flash memory. Once programmed, the logic remains functional and fixed until a new programming is being done. Even though it has these kind of advantages, there is also a disadvantage of this approach, is that non-volatile memories require special steps in manufacturing process, such as the deposition of ultra thin oxides, right? Then we'll go to the third type, that is volatile or RAM based FPGA. We all know that RAM is a volatile memory. That means if you remove the power supply, it will lose the data content which it has stored. This popular approach to programming the logic array employs volatile static RAM, that is random access memory cells for the storage of program. Since these memories lose their stored content when the FPGA is powered down, reloading of the configuration from an external permanent memory is necessary every time the part is turned on, right? Now, the logic can be modified and upgraded once deployed in the field. A customer can be sent a new configuration file to upgrade the chip instead of sending a new chip. In addition, logic can be dynamically modified on the fly during execution. These are the advantages of FPGAs. The latter approach is called reconfiguration, and it becomes quite popular in the late 1990s still today. Right now in the market, we have very complicated FPGAs available from Xilinx. Xilinx is the world leader in the manufacturing of FPGAs. In our college, we have Spartan series and Vertex series FPGAs. Now we do have Kintex and so many other flavors of FPGAs which come with soft or the hard core of microprocessors and so many other external complicated circuits on chip, right? In some sense, this brings a paradigm that was extremely successful in the world of programming. Okay. In the coming sections, we first discuss different ways of implementing programmable logic, followed by an overview of programmable interconnection. Finally, we detail a number of specific ways of putting the two together. Right now, let me start with programmable logic style. In that, once again, there are two types: array-based and lookup table. Similar to the situation in the semiconductor design, two fundamentally different approaches towards programmable logic are currently in vogue, that are array-based and cell-based. So first, let me discuss what is array-based. So earlier we discussed how programmable logic array, that is PLA, implements arbitrary Boolean logic functions in a regular fashion. A similar approach can be applied to field programmable devices as well. Consider, for example, the logic structure, right? Logic structure. Let me show you the logic structure for the PLA, that is the first one. All right. So here you can see programmable logic array, that is a short form for this programmable logic array is PLA. Here you can see the diagram. It has two planes or array of planes, that is programmable AND array and programmable OR array. If both the planes are programmable, then such logic device we call as programmable logic array or PLA. Here a circle O at an intersection indicates a programmable connection. Okay, right? You can observe that that is an interconnection here. Interconnection can happen here and here. So here both the AND plane and OR plane both are programmable. We have the flexibility of programming both the planes. That is an interconnection point that is either enabled or not. An inspection of a diagram reveals that it is equivalent to PLA, where both AND and OR planes can be programmed by selectively enabling connections. This approach allows for implementation of arbitrary logic function in the two-level sum of product forms. We know that most of the combination logic is getting implemented with the help of sum of product, that is SOP. We require AND operation and OR operation. If you can convert any logic in terms of Boolean equations, then to implement those Boolean equations, you just require AND gates and OR gates, and that's what we are doing in PLA. The AND plane creates the required minterms, while the OR plane takes the sum of a selected set of products to form the outputs. That's all. To include a given input variable, for instance I, in a specific minterm, just close the switch at the intersection of the input signal and the minterm. Similarly, a minterm is included into an output by closing appropriate connection in the OR plane. So here the minterms are getting formed and here those are getting added. So that will result into required sum of products. Right, now let me go to the next part, that is with respect to the PROM. It's the second one. Okay, here you can see we have a fixed AND array and a programmable OR array. Here as shown, we have certain dots in the fixed AND array. The dots at the intersection of the two lines represents a non-feasible or hardwired link. So that means this is not programmable. These dots indicate they are hardwired. They are fixed connections. The first structure represents the PROM architecture, in which the AND plane is fixed and enumerates all possible minterms. So all possible minterms it has fused and it is kept ready for the user. The second structure called the programmable array logic device, PAL, okay, is located at the other end of the spectrum, where OR plane is fixed and the AND plane is programmable. That means what? Here OR plane is fixed and AND plane is programmable. You can see here the dots. These dots are hardwired. You cannot change those. That means what? You have the flexibility of forming different AND combinations, but you have fixed OR. Whereas here you have fixed and you have programmable OR. The PROM and PAL structure, on the other hand, trade off flexibility for density of performance. The structure to select depends strongly on the nature of the Boolean function to be implemented. All these approaches are generally classified under the common term of programmable logic devices called as PLDs. Okay. Now, a single array architecture of PLA, PROM, and PAL structures, as shown in the above figures, becomes less attractive in the array of higher integration density. First of all, implementing very complex logic functions on a single large array structure array results in a loss of programming density and performance. Secondly, the arrays shown implement only combinational logic. To realize complete sequential subdesigns, the presence of registers, flip-flops is an absolute requirement. Right, as shown in this all three diagrams, 1, 2, and 3, we are just talking about implementing the combination logic. But in real-time examples, we come across sequential circuits. So here we don't have the possibility of registers or flip-flops. Right, there is no feedback. Now to take care of such complicated circuits, we can see, or there are two possibilities. One is partition the array into number of smaller sections, often called as macrocells. Second one, introduce flip-flops and provide a potential feedback from output signals to the inputs. These are the two possibilities. Right? Now, here I have shown a simple example for a PROM based. It is with respect to this design only. PROM based one example we have considered. Alright. So here you can see two functions are there, f0 and f1. If these are the combinational logics, right, f0 is the first function, the combination equation which I want to implement with help of PROM based PLD. So it has the variables x0 and x1. The equation is x0 x1 plus x2 bar, and f1 is x0 x1 x2 plus x2 bar plus x0 bar into x1. So we have here minterms. So we require and OR operations here. Now to perform this, you require AND. Now to perform this plus operation, you require OR. So as shown in the figure, the red dots are the programmable OR array, and the black dots here we have fixed AND. Right? So red dots tell you the programmed OR, and black dots in the AND array are the fixed outputs and terms. Right? Now minterms are being formed, all possible minterms are being formed and they are kept ready. Now it's only with the help of OR array you have to generate these functionalities. If you just compare, you please go through the text and try to write the equations, what is getting generated. If you simplify that, these functions f0 and f1 you are going to get. Now I just request all of you to the same functions you can try implementing with help of PAL as well as PLA. In PLA, both AND plane and OR plane are programmable. In PAL, we have programmable AND array and fixed OR array. So please go through those PLDs and try to implement these functions once again with in some rough book. You can try to implement these two equations as shown in the above example. Right? So as I told, these PLDs, that is PAL, PLA and PROM based PLDs, are suitable if we are planning of implementing simple combination logics. If we come across some sequential circuits, then we have to go for some other type of solutions. As I told, we need to partition the array into number of smaller sections, often called as macrocells. Second one, introduce flip-flops and provide potential feedback from output signal to the inputs. One example of how this can be accomplished is shown in in this above figure. The PAL here contains k macro cells, each of which can select from I inputs and features at most j product terms. Right, you please refer to the text PDF which I have forwarded here. The figure, the letters what they have written are not clear here. Okay, please refer that. So here they are trying to show the k macro cells here, that is not getting reflected in this PPT properly. This because of some mismatch between the PC and the mobile. So I will try to rectify it in the next slides if possible, or else you please refer to the textbook PDF which I have already circulated in the group. Right, so each macro cell contains a single register which also is programmable. It can be configured as a DT, JK or clocked SR flip-flop. The K output signals are fed back to the input bus, thus form a subset of I input signals. The PLA approach to configure logic has two distinct advantages as shown in this figure. The structure is very regular, which makes the estimation of parasitic quite easy. Second one, it provides an efficient implementation for logic functions that map well into a two-level logic description. All right. So this is with respect to the usage of PLDs, complicated PLDs for generating sequential logic. So that's all for this particular class. I will be taking up with the remaining part, that is cell-based programmable logic, how it is being done and how its advantages compared to the previous logic will be taken in the next part of the video tutorial. Until then, please keep on reading. Thank you.